the first category we're gonna jump in is problem solving. Before we start to explain each of the questions, what I want you to go through is the common processes we are dealing with the problem solving. So in the problem solving, actually it's testing us mainly three abilities we should have. Firstly, is identify the problem, and then according to the problem, we should choose the information which is they give to us. In other words, not all the information in the questions will be useful for us. We need to process and choose the information that can help us to find the answer. And then to try the different strategies, which means after we collect enough information, we will try the strategies, which some of the strategies might be working, but some might not. All right. So we should have the quick abilities to say, all right, this is strategy. If it's not working, we should quickly come back to see, oh, is there any information I'm missing here? Or is there any information I'm still not using there? And according to that reprocess, we need to choose another strategies until we find out the solution. So that is basically what's the process that the problem solving is. Let's take an example of the question number 4 in the sample test. Oh, here I'm gonna say is all of my question here, I do a little bit of modification on basis of the mock test, on the sample test there. Just to make sure that you guys really understand the question instead of some of you might already remember the answers from the sample test. Okay, so some of my questions here already, I do a little bit of modification. So let's focus on understand the question actually instead of remember the answers. Okay, the sample test answer might not working in my questions here. Look at the question number 4. Actually, in this question is testing about just to show us like how do we use the process that we the problem solving process we just discussed in the previous pages. Question number 4. Let's read the question together. Assessing meeting room for secret club is only possible if answer 2 secret questions. Okay, the question are based on the following sentences. All right, so look at the italic words here. Until here, we don't know exactly what this sentence is going to be used for, but we should tell ourselves that this sentence is going to be very important because all the questions going to be based on this sentence. Okay, so we even don't know how do we use this sentence yet, but we know this sentence is going to be very important. So if I were you, I'm going to underline it, or I just put blanket around it, just remind myself that this is a very important one. So each day, everyone giving a number, which is a starting position. So one number for starting position. When anyone arriving at the door, they will given 2 numbers. It's another 2 numbers showing here, and I have to say that letters that appeared in those position, if counting, start from the day's starting numbers. Okay, in those position, let me ask you, what's those position means? What's those? Right? What's this position means? Where does the position? So when we're talking about the positions, in those positions, this pronoun, we have to find out what this pronoun refers to. Let I just said, because this sentence is in the sentences with italic is very important. So we'll very naturally can just link them together to see this position must be represent the positions in these sentences. In this sentence. The position in this sentence. That's very naturally we can think about, right? Otherwise, they will not italic the words, just showing us all the questions are based on the following sentence. Okay, so the 2 numbers they will give it to us, and that's 2 numbers just showing us the positions we're starting from the that day's starting position numbers. Okay, today the first person was giving number 5 and 8. So when we see these 2 numbers, let me ask you first, what's this number referring to? Starting number or is that the position numbers? So very easily we can find out that's two numbers, right? So that must be the position number. So the number 5 and 8 responding to the letter O and D, which is correct. So this is the position numbers. Sorry. And this position number is corresponding to two letters, O and D. And the second person gives the 2 and the 10. Then the question asking us is, what letters our position number 2 and 10 will be corresponding to? Okay, since they're asking us the letters, so we already have the example, which is 5 and 8, which is O and D. Let's go back to that sentences to find out where that O and D is corresponding to. Okay, so if we look at these sentences, we'll find out how many O here. We got a 1 O here, we got a 1 O here, right? But how many D's do we have in here? We only got a 1 D, right? This is only letter D here. It's allowed. This D is the only letters, which means we can say, okay, this D is coming from number 8. So which O that will be if it's number 5? Yes, you're right. The 1 is on the right, because it's quite close. If we can put the number 5 and 8 and the O and the D, we'll find out. Okay, that makes sense, because after we collect all the information, we find out the information we are missing here is starting numbers. Nobody in this question, they didn't tell us where that is starting numbers. But we know O is the position number is 5 and D the position number is D. Okay, so naturally we can find out, all right, so if we counting them back from O by 5, then L 4, another L is 3, A is 2, and the E, this is going to be the starting position, which is first one. It's first letters. We're starting from E. Then we start from E, we counting to O is 5, and we counting to D is 8. Yeah, that is why it's 5, 8 is responded to the letter O and D. Some students, if they think it's more efficient, they might find out, Rex, you know what, I even do not need to find out what that the first letters will be, because we know number 5 is O, number 8 is D. Then you ask me number 2 and number 10. What I only need to do is I'm counting by number 8, then I counting 2 letters forward. I will see this is number 10. Okay, so number 10 definitely gonna be the letter N, right? So when I look at all the 4 answers, D is the only one answers I can choose because they represent the last letter is N. To be more secure, I can just counting by position number 5, which is O. I'm counting 3 letters forward. I can see, okay, A. This is the number 2, is A. Okay, so I'm pretty sure now, double confirmed, A and N, they are the correct answer. So the correct answer is D. So from this question, we go through, we will find out is, this question testing us, we should have the ability to understand what the question is trying to say, right? And also we need to process what the information we got. Because in this question, they only tell us the 2 position numbers without telling us the starting numbers, right? So we have to clarify there's 2 pairs of numbers here. One is the starting position, which is they don't tell us in the question. Another is the 2 numbers, which is showing the positions, which is in that sentences. After we understand that scheme, the next thing we need to do is the problem asking us what's the number 2 and the 10 respond to the letters. So we need to go back to the sentences and by counting each of the relative position to find out what is the letters represented to the numbers. So basically that is showing us how do we understand, how do we learn what they're trying to tell us. and then try to use that information to solve the problem immediately. So in my sample tested here, I can see out of 20 students, for this question, 60% has got it right, which is I got 12 students get this correctly and 8 students get this wrong, which is almost half of them. Yeah, so this is a little bit challenging questions. And after I explain, I hope everyone can understand it right now.